Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing? Welcome to Ben's Camera Show. My name is Ben Slotover, and I will be talking to you about camera stuff for the next approximate 45 minutes to 1 hour. How are you all doing? Have you enjoyed your summer? Because it really is looking like the end now. Yeah, weather's turned. The countdown is on to when the heating comes back on. Not quite yet, but you know, there's a nip in the air, as they say. Anyway, what should happen at the end of summer but the Notting Hill Carnival, which is where I went this week. Well, since the last camera show. That's right, showing that I'm not too old and square to go and kick it in Notting Hill Gate at the Notting Hill Carnival, which is a once a year thing they have in London here, which is like a giant street party celebrating the culture of the West Indies. In fact, let's have a look at some footage there. Oh, wait, before I do, switch off my intro. Hey, Old Radios is commenting. He says, "We good to hear that." Right, Old Radios. So yes, this is what I got up to in Notting Hill with my square ass. First, this is before it got really going, which is the time to go, by the way. It's great. There's sound systems, there's food, there's a parade, and if you're careful, you don't get. Look at this. Oh, the contrast. Anyway, had some lovely jerk chicken, rice and peas, and sat in the gutter eating it, and washed it down with an old red stripe. And then I went to see the Abashanti Eye sound system, and stood in the shade of a big speaker, and got my guts vibrated seriously nicely. Anyway, so I can recommend it. I've stopped going for like 25 years because I thought, oh god, the crowd's going to be bloody awful. But in the end, it wasn't that bad. In fact, if any of you are going to come to London and go to the Notting Hill Carnival, I can show you the best place to see it, the best place to go. Yes, I shouldn't really be showing you because this is actually to avoid the crowds. But if you arrive from the north, around Kensal Rise or Queen's Park, and then you get to this bit here, it's a nice uncrowded area, and I can recommend it. You got your food, you got your sound systems, you got the parade route. You don't have to go to all the nightmare down here. I just bookmarked a restaurant there. Okay, anyway, so yes, that was the Notting Hill Carnival. Let's get this off before I derail the whole show. Oh, that's a little taster for later on. Anyway, so Slas Vlad, good evening to you too, in the house. Old Radios looks fun? ? You can have a great time at the Notting Hill Carnival, or you can have an absolutely horrible time at the Notting Hill Carnival. It all depends on planning ahead, and buy your red stripe before you get into the zone, because it doubles in price once you get there. What else have I been up to? Well, this happened actually a couple of shows ago, but I've been sitting on this footage because, well, I've been looking for a time to share it. Too busy with the other shows, but I'm gonna share it with you now. I went back to Berlin. My daughter just finished art school there, so I went back to see her degree show and to hang out for a little bit, to chat with my old mates down at Click and Sir. Had said hello to Jürgen, and went back to the Notting Hill Carnival. No. So yeah, I just thought I'd share a couple of couple of pictures of the trip there. That's the poster for my daughter's piece called Coded Conduct. It was really impressive. She coded a message using all these postcards that she created herself, and you had to sit there and work out the message by reading the code. I filmed it on Super 8. Unfortunately, as you can see, the old UN54 did me dirty, or else maybe it was the R09 developer, the Rodinol, that's gone a bit old. It was quite an old bottle of Rodinol. Anyway, didn't work out that well. This was developed as a negative. The subject matter, very dear to my heart. Unfortunately, the process didn't do all that well. And but you know, you can just about see what's going on. Very grainy. Not the quality I usually get from UN54, to be honest. But you know, what are you going to do? I mean, you live and learn. I'm not going to use that Rodinol bottle anymore. Maybe that was it. Maybe if I just left it in longer, it would have been better. Anyway, so yes, there's my daughter DJing, and then this is the cool part. I went to a. Oh yeah, this is interesting. I'm going to just let's show you. There was one of the exhibits was an overhead projector, and they had it set up so that it was pointing at the window. You think, what's the point of that? What's the point of projecting onto the window? You won't be able to see anything. No. It was working in reverse, which I thought was very interesting. It was taking that image from the window and it was using it as a kind of a projector there. Look, right there onto that piece of paper. So I guess it was kind of working like a photographic enlarger. Interesting. I wonder what you could do with that. I guess it's, well, maybe not photographic enlarger, maybe more of a camera obscura. Yeah. Old Radio says very expired. Well, it wasn't expired. That's the thing. It looks expired, but it was fresh UN. The developer was expired. Yes. Any oil or water effects? Not today, unfortunately. But we'll hang on. There's some cool stuff coming. So what else did I go to? I went to this show called Dark Matter, which is it's a thing they seem to have quite regularly in Berlin, which is basically just sort of like trippy shit to freak you out in the middle of a hot day. So I went to this big shed where they have all these art sort of exhibits based on motion and time and stuff like that. I filmed a bit with the Super 8. Didn't turn out that well. However, of course, I got the old standby out, which was the phone, and managed to get some video of this rather interesting exhibition. So, yeah. Very freaky. All these lights being reflected on mirrors and stuff, and lights and projections and freaky noises. This whole area you can walk through. This is a nice one. Look at this. They had all these like deck chairs set up, and sound effects of a fire. And look, they've got this kind of like fake digital fire, which really felt like the real thing. You were sitting there and just getting all relaxed. This is projections projected onto some kind of white rock-like feature. Looks a bit like an iceberg with projectors. It's supposed to be interactive. Now, this was the best of all. This was amazing. This was a piece called Grid by Christopher Balder, where you lie on the floor and all these like changing colored tubes move around above your head. And it really feels like sometimes that you're floating in space and looking at these crazy kind of like Tron-like visuals. It was absolutely amazing. If that's ever comes to London, I'm going back there. So that was my trip to Berlin. And then look, I found this poster for something called British Shorts. So who runs that in Berlin? But good luck to them. Maybe I'll submit a film to them. Old Rare says, "Whoa, yeah, okay, this rules." Yeah, absolutely. It was. He says, "I love it. I got to wear my glow in the dark skull shirt there." Yes, it is. It is basically art by stoners for stoners, and it does what it says in the tin. Let me tell you. So that was my trip to Berlin. That was this summer. That was basically my summer holiday. It was about 5 days. Other than that, I've been working. But what are you going to do? Right. This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Tri-X today. Okay? Got warmed up, everyone. Tri-X. What's Tri-X? Let me go into my little thing there, and we can get into the... Tri-X was invented by Kodak in 1955, and it was developed. It was released on Super 8 format in 1967, I believe. It is rated 200 ASA. It is a black and white film. It is a panchromatic film. In fact, I'm gonna read a bit of just some Google stuff here because otherwise I'll get something wrong. Introduced in 1967, it was designed as a high-speed panchromatic black and white reversal film, meaning it could be processed directly for projection. That's right, it is a reversal film, meaning that you can develop it and project it straight off, a bit like a slide film. It is known for its distinctive character, a desired quality among filmmakers that digital media often cannot replicate. Have you heard of anything more AI bollocks than that? Tri-X sounds like someone who's presenting a report to the class who hasn't done their homework. Tri-X is known for its distinctive character, which is the desired quality among filmmakers that digital media cannot often replicate. Yeah. That sounds. Thanks AI for winging it for me. The film exhibits tonal gradation. Yeah, doesn't every film do that? Sharp images and can produce a fine-grained look with minimal contrast, especially when processes are positive. Yeah, well, the jury's a bit out on that fine-grained look with minimal contrast. It can be pushed to high contrast, and there'll be some pushing going on tonight, let me tell you. Pronounced grain. While primarily a reversal film, here's some actual useful information. It can also be processed as a negative film, although this might result in a slight loss of speed and increased grain. Yeah. Old radios, that's right, yeah. It's black and white, yeah, and so it's not color. So, yeah, the black and white means it's chromatic, Super X and plus X, he says. Anyway. Here are some interesting experiments I did with Tri-X, and what I did this time is I reversal developed it. But before I show you reversal, let's see what they were talking about with it can be developed as a negative. Because why are we bothering with all this reversal nonsense when you can just do it as a negative? Well, let's have a look. First, let's have a look at some Tri-X developed as a negative. Here's some strips of Tri-X developed using LC29, which is made by Ilford. And yes, it is possible. Those are different timings there. And here's what it looks like. This is Tri-X developed as a negative in Rodinol, 1+50 Rodinol. It was a lot fresher then than it was in Berlin. 9 minutes at 25 degrees. I think that's what I did it as. It was a kind of a grim day, but it wasn't this grim. I mean, this is well gloomy. But anyway, the grain is definitely visible, definitely apparent. I don't mind it. I don't mind high grain film. Why not? As long as it's not out of focus. This was shot on the South Bank in London a couple of years ago, actually, in the winter. That's what you get. You get skaters and cyclists and all the rest of it. Very nice. And so, yeah, you can do it as a negative. But it looks better as a positive. It's less grainy and it's faster as well. The film is better in lower light. So this is what we're going to use. This is what we use. D94. Reversal developing. I'm not going to go into it all again this show. I've gone on to it many shows before, and you can check one of those out for my whole description about reversal developing. But I'll tell you very basically first that it is more complicated than negative developing. Lad says, I developed this film as a negative in D76, dilution 1 to 3 for 20 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. It turned out great. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's a good film. It's a good film. So this is what I use. I use D94, and these pieces, these formulae here, and all the other all the other process information I'm going to show you here was very kindly given to me by the great wizard himself, Adrian Cousins. and he knows all about this stuff and all about every other kind of developing stuff as well. So he sent me these. This is the formula for D94. He also sent me the process details. He also gave me some of these chemicals, which, I mean, that's talk about going above and beyond. Thank you, Adrian, for that. That's fantastic. So what have we got here? We've got the first developer, which is water, something called Elon, which is the active ingredient, I believe, very important. Sodium sulfite, hydroquinone, potassium sodium bromide, sodium thiocyanate. I actually had potassium thiocyanate, which I substituted. It looked fine. Olivia says Elon is in it. There's another word for Elon, which is, what is it? I don't have it written down here. They sometimes call it something else. Metol. Yeah, sometimes it's called metol. Go figure. Yeah, I know. Elon, talk about a bad name. Anyway, and then you got the bleach, which is potassium dichromate and sulfuric acid. Dichromate is well known for being a bit nasty, a bit carcinogenic, a bit toxic. Adrian said, just don't get it in your mouth and you'll be fine. So, fingers crossed. Check back with me in 20 years. Dichromate is the absolute dog's bollocks, though, in terms of bleaching agent. And then you've got this. You've got the clearing bath, which is a bit like a stop bath for your bleach, and there's a stop bath, which is a stop bath for your developer. And then they say redeveloper Kodak D95. Now I was buggered if I was going to go and mix together an entire other developer for the redeveloper when you can use any developer for the redeveloper. I just went back to Ilford LC29 for that. So that's where I varied from the official Kodak process. And I went here for some of my chemicals, a place called Nick and Trick Analog Photography Scores. They're based in the UK. And here's some photos of their shop. They got everything. Look at all this lovely chemicals. You got the raw chemicals here from Bellini. You got everything. They do a thriving. There's Bagpuss. Not sure what Bagpuss is doing there. Anyway, they do a thriving trade in people who want to mix up their own developers out of the raw chemicals. So I mixed them lot up, and here is the processing steps for doing Tri-X. This is the official Kodak documents here. And yeah, you can see there's a first developer, then a rinse, then the bleach, then a rinse, then the clearing bath, then a rinse, then the re-exposure, then the redeveloping, that's the second developer, then the rinse, then a fixer, then a wash, then a dry. So it's a bit of a long process. Now, look at those timings for the 20 degrees column, the first column. I don't have my other camera running today, so I can't put my hand into the picture. But look at that, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 50 seconds, 30 seconds. These are some short timings, and this proves to be a problem if you are going to use a Lomo tank, because they take 30 seconds just to drain. And, well, we'll get to how I fix that. Mike Rooks, Bagpuss, yay! I should do morph in my next one. It says, do not use an acid stop bath after the first developer. So anyway, these are some short timings. And for 35 degrees Celsius, warmer, it gets down to 40 seconds. And for 43 Celsius, down to 13 seconds. I have never used a developer which is that fast, 13 seconds. That is a big pain in the ass. When a developer is 20 minutes, you know, you got time. You can drain it, and it'll take a minute to drain it, and it won't affect the developing. 13 seconds. Are they having a laugh? They're having a laugh. Anyway, so I mixed all that lot up, and I tried some Tri-X, and I tried some Orwo UN54, the one I shot Berlin in. And unfortunately, Orwo 54, well, didn't do a lot of favors to it, really, the D94. This is 3 minutes. Looks very, very underdeveloped there. And 2 minutes, 1 minute looked even worse. I don't know. Maybe it was the piece of film I had or something. But look at the difference between Orwo UN54 and now the Tri-X in D94. There you go. That's what we're after. Contrast City. Much better. So that's 2 minutes in the D94 And 1 minute. See, a little bit grayer, but still not too bad. 1 minute, though. I don't know, though. Tricky. So now let's have a look. Let's have some more tests, because I did test after test, by the way, just to get the process, get my what's the word? Get a handle on it. Yes. Stasblad says, thanks, Ben, for the recipe. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Adrian, for that. So let's have a look. 2 minutes in the first developer, 3 minutes. See the difference there between 2 and 3 minutes? 3 minutes. The thing is, it's actually slightly too overdeveloped here. Very high contrast. My shirt has been completely whited out at this point. So 3 minutes is a bit too long, as Kodak would have told you. And what else we got? Here's another 3 minutes. And so what I did was I did a dunk test. And I'm going to show you all about the dunking process later, because I filmed it. And I decided to do 2 minutes, 45 seconds. And yeah, not too bad for the developing. The bleaching, I messed up. As you can see, some really awful kind of artifacts here. Never mind. So I did a dunk test, and then I went out and I filmed, a minute or two when I was on holiday. Now, we do have some trouble here. If you can see these kind of black, look there, that's a good frame to pause on. See the dog? See where it's white? Well, there's some silver still stuck to that dog. See those grey kind of patches on it. Basically, I did not bleach it long enough, and that's why you've got all of that, which is a little issue there. See those? Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, not bad, but you know, let's pay some attention to the bleaching there. I'm basically too paranoid about leaving it in the bleach for too long, and the emulsion going away. So here's a shot. Went out and shot some more Tri-X. And here we go, 2 minutes. This is what the Tri-X looked like when it was 2 minutes into D94. This was at 20 degrees, I believe, 21 degrees or so. Old Rio says, it's a good one. Well, thank you. Listen, good stuff. We're just getting warmed up here. There's some very good stuff coming. So yeah, 2 months old Tri-X. It had slightly lost its power because I did it in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and 4 minutes. And now, not bad, 2 minutes. Let's see, 3 minutes. There's 3 minutes. Yeah, look, it's getting a bit overdeveloped there. And finally, I think we're going to see 4 minutes. Way too long. I overcooked it there. And look, there's some gunk on it. I didn't even put it in the developer for long enough. So, the dunking. Here is what I use. This thing is a Lomo tank. Usually you just pour the liquid into a hose or into the top. You develop it, you let it strain out of the hose. It takes, like I said, a Tri-X. Haha. Yes, very funny old radios. Anyway, so yes, here's what I use, the Lomo tank. It takes, like I said, a minute or so, or half a minute to drain, and that's a problem. That means you've got uneven development going on. So here's what you do to dunk. You stick everything into a bag. Here's our bleach, here's our developer. And what I've got here is basically 2 Lomo tanks, although the one in the front doesn't have to be a Lomo tank, as you'll see. You could just use an old bucket, a shallow saucepan that you're never going to use to cook food again. Please don't use any kitchen implements when using dichromate bleach, really. It's the worst stuff. So here's what I do. Before I even close up the changing back, I've got hiccups now, Jesus. Before I even close up the changing bag, while I can see what I'm doing, I take the bleach and I pour it into the second tank here. So I've sped that up a bit. Oh my God, it's splashing everywhere. No way I didn't get that somewhere in my mouth at some point. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I pour the bleach in there. Okay? The film is already loaded. Let me just go back a second here. The film is already loaded in this Lomo tank here. I forgot to say that. It's already loaded, and as you can see, the lid is on, so it's not getting exposed. So, fill the second tank up with some bleach. This is the dichromate bleach. Then zip it all up. Go. And start a timer. Now you can see in the top right there, I've got my phone running. It's just running so I can tell exactly how long a minute is, a minute and a half. Doesn't have to. You have to start it exactly when you start your business. You just, as long as it's on a, like, you know, it's reached like 4 minutes, you know, okay, I can start here. Old Red says, you got custom bottles for the ingredients. I actually bought those nice glass bottles in Nick and Trick, the place I showed you before, the place that I got all the chemicals. Got these nice glass bottles, and I use my label maker to make developer and bleach labels for it. So here's what you do. You start the timer so you can see it. Leave your phone somewhere you can see what you're doing, because timing is very crucial. Put your hands into the changing bag, and at this point, from here on, I cannot stress this enough. This, what you're seeing here, has to happen in complete darkness. So either you've got a changing bag or you've got a complete dark room, blackout dark room. Okay? So I take the lid off. I remove the spiral that has the film already wound onto it. I already did that earlier. Okay? I get that, put that aside, put that somewhere dry. And then basically just feeling what I'm doing, I pour the developer into, that's just water. But I pour developer into there, into the first flow-mo. And then I check the time. There we go, I'm pointing at it. And then when it gets to 0, boom, into the developer it goes for 1 minute, for half a minute, for 2 minutes, however long you like. So that stays in there. Twiddle it around a bit, make sure it gets everywhere, the developer. And after developing time has elapsed, this is the crucial point. Take it right out of the developer, just let it drip a little bit, no time to lose, straight into the bleach it goes. Boom, the entire film hits the bleach at the same time. And this is when you start the timer, or you check the time for the bleach. Okay? Stays in the bleach. It's at the moment for the dichromate bleach I'm using, well, we'll talk about the timing in a minute. But you can leave it in there for a minute or two. Then unzip the bag. It doesn't matter at this point if the light hits it, because the developing has completely finished and it's not going to fog the film anymore. It's in the bleach. You take that all out of the bag or switch your lights on if you're in the dark room. Put it to one side, and then exactly at the moment when your bleach is to stop, you take it out and rinse it quickly, put it in the clearing bath. Some questions have come in, some comments have come in. Let's just pause for a moment here. Did you do this with your eyes closed? Well, when I filmed it, no, but I could have. In fact, I did do it with my eyes closed when I had my hands in the bag, funnily enough. Even though it doesn't matter if your eyes are open or closed, it seems to help if your eyes are closed when you do it. Mike Rook says, remember kids, you can use a changing tent with a hole in the top and thermal, not infrared camera to see what you're doing. I would love to have a setup like that one day. Yes, that would be, to pretend you're in a dark room. Yeah, I would love to. In fact, I would love to have a thermal tent with an infrared camera, not infrared, sorry, a thermal camera and a screen on the outside so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, maybe for the future. Thanks, Mike, for that little tip. Okay, so what we're looking at here is not mold. This is dichromate bleach that I made a couple of months ago, and I've used it a couple of times since. When it was fresh, it was a lovely golden kind of Lucozade color, and now it's it's gone a bit green and it's got this weird sort of residue on the top. So it was in there it still works. I took it out after a couple of minutes. Old Radio says night shot on an early 2000s Sony Handycam. Oh, those very highly in demand ones that you can run during the day. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I left it in for a couple of minutes and took it out, and look at what happened to the film. Look, it's got all the pictures on it. You can see all the pictures there on the film. It's very exciting. I can see all my frames, so the developing definitely worked. And then I had another closer look at it, and I thought, well, this has happened to me before when I could see all the pictures on it. And what happened was that didn't come out very well at all. Although that looks amazing right now, if your film comes out of the bleach looking like this, it has not bleached enough. Warning, you will get all that mucky black dots and everything on it. In fact, let's look side by side at some bleached, this is some incompletely bleached Tri-X and some properly bleached Tri-X. Let's see that beside there. There we go. See the difference there? The incomplete bleached one is a kind of like it's a kind of a off-white and grey, and the properly bleached one is grey and pretty much see-through at this point. So you want to catch your film when it's like the one on the right there, but before yeah, that didn't that was a very zoomed up picture, but before the actual picture that you want to keep goes away. Now this is what happens. This is the effect of taking it out too soon. I snipped about 2 or 3 centimeters of film out, and I actually second developed it before the rest of the film was finished bleaching. I just put it in the clearing bath to hold it for a while I developed a little gram of it, a few gram slides. Well, I get my units right. A few frames of film, and this is what it looked like. Ooh, mucky, not good at all. All the black stuff. That's silver that should have been dissolved by the bleach. So luckily, I spotted the problem, and I developed it, and I did a test, and I found out that yes, it needs to go back in the bleach. So yeah, just once again, this is what properly bleached film looks like. Mike Rook says incomplete tends to have a milky white base. Exactly, and we saw that. And now it's gone kind of grey, which is good. In fact, the picture, funnily enough, you know how fixing is supposed to make it transparent. It was pretty much transparent, come straight out of the bleach. Although if I were to just project this straight away, whoops, go back a little bit. If I was to project this, it would look very, very low contrast and washed out. So basically, this needs to go into second development to get those greys, make them all nice and black and get our contrast back. So, but the first part was to basically put this unbleached, under-bleached, which had been 2 minutes in the bleach, which funnily enough, after 2 minutes, when this bleach was fresh, 2 minutes would have done it. And now it's been used a few times, it's a bit older, it needs some more time. So I put it back in, is what I'm trying to say. I put it back in for another 3 minutes. There it goes, back into the bleach. Yeah, nice. For another 3 minutes. Stas Vlad says, I bleach for at least 7 minutes, then 2, 3, and 4 films respectively, 9, 12, 16 minutes. Is that with dichromate bleach, Vlad? Because I would be a bit worried about leaving it for 7 minutes. I'd be worried that all the stuff would come off. Now that stuff there that's on that scum there, that's actually not bad. That's what we want to come off. And I got this amazing video here. Check this out. This is the unused emulsion being dissolved off the film in the bleach. Look at this. There it goes. That's it coming right off. I had to jiggle it around just to move it around a bit, but look at this. There it is. It's all coming off. And there's a still frame of it. Lovely stuff. Look at that. That's our film. That is film reversal. Caught in the act right there. Fantastic stuff. Turning the negative into a positive. So properly bleached, properly exposed, hopefully. Let's just look one more time at what a pre-second development film should look like. There we go. Look, it's kind of grey when it's not being backlit, and you should be able to see the film right through there. Old Rio says, whoa, yeah. Whoa, indeed. It looked good, didn't it? So, Mike says, the art of reversal. Damn right. So, finally, here we go. Here's the final development, which went pretty well, got to say. It was 2.5 minutes in the D94. It was 3 minutes in the bleach and then an extra 2 minutes. Oh, or was it 2 minutes, then an extra 3 minutes? I don't remember. 2 minutes in the clearing bath. Then I did the second exposure where I put it for 6 minutes in the second developer. I used Ilford LC29. You could use D95. You could use Rodinol. You could even try putting it straight back in the D94, see what happens. I didn't want to risk it at this point. and 5 minutes in the fix. And that came out lovely. In fact, I have the scan of what the rest of the film looked like. I took some film, but you know what? I'm not going to show you that as a digital scan. The spirit of reversal is, of course, to watch it live through a projector. So that's what we're going to do. That's right. Our live film tonight is going to be Tri-X, developed as a reversal in D94. Let's get it all set up. Okay. God, I hope this works. If it doesn't, we've got digital, just in case it doesn't work. Let's see. I'm on DSLR. Do your thing. Yes, it's live. Just to prove. Oliver says, let's go. No jam to it. Well, I hope it jams at least once. I do like it when it jams. So there's my hand. There we go. Just to prove, not that anyone's even asking for proof, but just to prove that it's live. And I might have to focus it a bit. Okay, it's only a minute or two long. Should we get some music on this? Yeah, let's get some music. Why not? Or, you know what? Instead of a music, should we just have the sound of the projector? The lovely sound of the projector. I don't know. So, what have we got? Have we got any music? Oh, it's the music from the Gladiators from last time. All right. It's completely ridiculous music, but here we go. Nice. Those are my mates. Those are the Exploding Cinema gang. I was shot on a Canon 814 XLS. Lovely camera. Nice. We were making the program for the upcoming Exploding Cinema book launch. Oh. Okay, now it's just some various other tests and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, Old Radio says, love it. Don't we all? I might as well leave it running here with the light on. I mean, this is all just like negative, and it's just other stuff that was on the reel. Indie student film look. Yes. Anyway. Hey, Cecil DeVille is here. Gladiator Kitty. Yeah, anyway, so... I mean, this is just, what else have we got on this? What have we got here? 3/4 of bugger all, it looks like. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So it's just more of the... whoa. Yay, we got a melting. Yes, let's melt, guys. I always try and promise you some melting. Let's... oh, look, we can just... look at that. We can just... we can... So here are all the... anyway. So... it all works. Very good. And I'm happy to say... let's put the light back on. Oh. Bear with me. There we go. So, yes, I'm happy to say that the... I can't hear myself anymore. Oh, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, so I'm happy to say that the Tri-X can now be developed in the D94 reversal using the Kodak recipe. So I'm very excited because at some point the lovely Straight 8 people are going to be doing a day of Super 8 nonsense, and they're getting me in to develop the film at the end of the day. So I'm very glad that fingers crossed, the old Tri-X is working, and then they can project that at the end of the day. So now we've had our film. What are we going to do for the film show, for the actual end of the show film show? Well, we got something very exciting. We have a submission from New Zealand, from my new friend Mike, who basically has a whole bunch of kit in New Zealand, and he sent me this lovely video of one of his bits of kit, and I'm thinking maybe we should start a new segment for the show called Show Me Your Kit, where you basically, if you've got something interesting to film it and talk about it and send it to me, and I'll put it on, and that'll be free content for me, and I can sit back and let you do the show for me. So yes, let's have a look at what Mike in New Zealand came up with. He didn't come up with it. He made this film of this bit of kit. So show me your kit, Mike.
Here I have the Super 8 titler, just to show Ben and anyone else who's watching. I bought this at a store. It's for 8mm and 16mm. Here's the bits and pieces.
Oh, I like that.
This is obviously where little things can go that you can put things into, and it comes with a whole lot of sort of bits and pieces that you can put in there, like cards you can focus on, and that sort of fits into the actual structure there, which is kind of a metal slide thing. And at the other end, of course, here's a picture of it to show you where the camera would go.
Cool.
It's got instructions basically there. It's pretty easy to set up. It's a Japanese thing, and I'll show you a picture of it when it's all set up in a second with a very simple camera I own. Oh yeah, here's the instructions for it first, and it's quite simple to follow and set up, although I found one little bit was missing, so I had to sort of improvise a little bit. And so here it is, with a small Super 8 camera of mine named. Not going to set up so you can see what it looks like through the viewfinder, just thought I'd just show you what it looks like anyway. And that's about it really, with the Canon 514 XL.
Cool.
And of course this thing slides backwards and forwards too, so you can do close-ups if you wanted to without using your zoom lens there.
I want one too.
And so that's the Super 8 titler. They're pretty good if you can get hold of one. Mine was about $30, so second hand.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike, for that wonderful demonstration of the Super 8 titler. I have something similar, which is basically a small version of that for my UMIG Mini 5. It's tiny. It's like about this long, and you have to put the UMIG into macro, and it really only is designed for little 35mm slides rather than an actual placard like that. But great stuff. So if you've got some equipment you'd like to show me, send me a video of it. I'll stick it on the show. Of course I will. Why not? I mean, I love the equipment, and I love seeing what other people have got as well as my stuff. Old Radio says better than my letterboard title. Is that what you're using right now? Yeah. Keep checking the shops, I guess. Anyway, so listen, everyone. That pretty much brings us to the end of this show. It's been an interesting one. It's been a long time coming. I've been building up all this footage and doing all this stuff since June, all this Tri-X stuff since June. And I'm very glad to get it out there so you can all do it too. I can very much recommend the D94 process. If you've got Tri-X, you can assemble all the chemicals to develop it for less than it costs to send it to a lab and get it scanned. So something to think about, especially if you've got an old little Super 8 projector. Cecil DeVille says, I have a complete Bolex titling kit similar to that. Oh, Cecil, send us your Bolex titling kit. Send us a picture. Maybe you should do a whole show on just titling, Super 8 titling. Why not? I've got one of those boards which has got all the sort of the little sticky letters you put on it. It's a complete pain in the arse to to alphabetize all of those. But yeah, you know, it works. This side towards screen says, brother is in the hospital. So sorry I missed the show. Hey, it's for it. Just pull the slider back and watch it when it's not live. It'll be there for probably forever, and then it'll get scraped by an AI and turned into raw data. Who knows what I'm talking about? I don't.
Here I have
Right.
the
Sorry.
titler.
Oh, no. Sorry, Mike. We're done with that. Right. That would seem to be it, everyone. That was tonight's camera show. Busy the next 2 weeks, I'm afraid. But I will be back on Thursday, 25th of September. Yes, I'm away, and well, I'm not away, but I'm away from my desk, and I'm going to be way too busy to put a camera show together the next 2 weeks. But I hope you lot will be back with me on Thursday, 25th of September. Same time, 7 o'clock. Thanks for all for tuning in. Thanks, Cecil. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Old Radios. Thanks, This Side Towards Screen. Stas Vlad. CJ Costa Rica. I'm just reading the names of every single person who commented. He might not even still be here. So says, thanks, Ben. See you on the next go around. Yay. So I'm not sure what I'm doing on the 25th of September, but it will be something. So tune in for something. Oh, look at that. All the hearts are coming. Isn't that sweet? So bye, everyone. And get that Tri-X under your belt and get that D94 and get developing yourself. And when I do some more, I will bring it to you. So let's turn every single one of the music I've got on. Let's just create chaos here. That's what I like. And yeah, I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Good night, everyone.